Hey everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today, here are some useful finger tricks for every move on the 3x3. So, let's get into it. Starting off the video with the moves R and R prime. Now, R and R prime don't really have many special finger tricks. It's just the wrist turns like that and that. However, sometimes you can use the pinch finger trick where you put your second finger on the top and your thumb on the top. Now this finger trick is pinching and usually also comes along with another finger trick with the U. This is usually useful for algorithms with many moves with R, U, and F. Now, what about R2 moves? There's nothing really special for R2 moves. If you're thinking of an R2 double flick, that's dumb, and it's just the wrist turns. Moving on to U moves, which have a lot of special finger tricks. Now, the normal way is to use your second fingers or the pointer fingers to use the back two corners and turn them like this. U and U prime. But another thing you can also do is the pinch move, where you just pinch the U with your pointer finger, and also the flick moves, which you use your pointer finger again to push them like this, but that isn't very useful. And you can also use the push moves, where you use your pointer finger to push the back corners like this, which also isn't that great. What about U2s? Now, using your pointer finger twice is not a great option. This is why you should be able to use both hands U2 double flicks, which you as fast as you can. Start with your pointer finger, then your middle finger. You should be able to do it with both hands. I know that I can't really do it with my left hand, but still, you should be able to. The L moves are literally the exact same as the right moves. The wrist turns are good, and the pinch moves are also good. The same thing for R2, for L2. There's nothing really special other than whatever was that, wrist turns. However, F, D, and B have some special stuff. So we're gonna start with F. So for your right hand, for normal F moves, you should use, if you're in home grip, you should use the pinch moves, or sometimes you can use your thumbs, mostly for F prime moves, not really with your left hand for your F. However, if you're in down grip, it's good to use your pointer fingers and push it down the top right and the top left corners. For F2, if you're in home grip, it's actually better to move down in down grip and do just like a U2 double flick, except it's not a U2, it's an F2. You're holding it more like this. Moving on to D moves, we're going to start with the normal D moves, where it's good to use your ring finger to push it like that. But you could also double flick, which you use your ring finger then your pinky, which is really hard. Sometimes you can do your pinky then ring. It is hard, so it does need a lot of practice, but it is still very good. And that is for D2. And what about D prime? Just like you use your ring finger to push, you should also use it to pull with using the tip to push it back, which is also something that you kind of need to get used to and practice a lot. But it is very necessary for algorithms like the E-perm. Moving on to B moves, one thing that you can do for normal B is once again use your ring finger like it is using when you're using the D moves, except you're not holding it like a D, you're holding it like this. And for B prime, you could also use the same thing, but you could use pushes with your left hand or your right hand. You use just like the D moves, or the D prime moves mostly, or both of them actually, you can use your ring finger to push the B for both ways. This also needs a lot of practice, especially if you're doing it with your right hand. Unless you're left-handed, then it might be harder to do it with your left hand, because that's what I find for some reason. Next up are wide moves, but wide moves are usually the same for all of the other types of move. Like the wide D moves are just the finger tricks for Ds, and wide moves don't even come that often, because a wide R2 is just an L2. Now moving on to M moves. This is a pretty important move. When you're doing M primes, you should always use your ring finger or your middle finger, or even your pointer finger sometimes, but it's best to use your middle finger or ring finger. I usually use both of them, maybe more the middle finger, but what you're just doing is pushing from the back, like that. And you can also pull from the back for M moves. But another thing you could do is using your pointer finger to do that and pull back, except that is useless. If you use this finger trick, which many beginners use, it is actually pretty bad, so make sure to switch to the other ones. Oh, what I just did there was an M2 double flick. So it also takes some time to get used to, especially with both hands. But what you're doing is, as fast as you can, doing the ring finger and then the middle finger followed by that, like that. And it is good to have it with both hands used. Moving on to probably one of the rarest moves, E moves. E moves do not come common at all, and really only in some F2L algorithms. But here are some useful finger tricks which can help in making patterns like that. So usually, when you're doing E moves, you should probably use your left hand or right hand, depends on which handed you are. If you're right-handed, you use your left. If you're left-handed, use your right. I mean, I know that makes no sense, but just trust me. So you can use your pointer. So if you're in home grip, go both of your hands just one up piece and use your pointer finger to push it like that. But you can also pull back with your pointer finger, and it's good even to get that used with both hands. That was one hard finger trick. And finally, to end the video, we have the best S moves. So usually you can pull, like with both hands, with your pointer fingers in home grip, which is a good move you should do, but you can also push with your pointer fingers, of course. Pointer fingers are useful in cubing. And what is the most useless finger? Probably your thumb or your pinky. But yeah, those are some good finger tricks for S moves. Now I'm going to show an example with these finger tricks. So this is going to be the JB prim, which just goes like that. If you know, you know. If you don't know, follow along. So we're going to start this algorithm. It's mostly RUF algorithm. Why did the corner twist happen? So you're going to start with your pinching move on the R, then pinch the U, and R prime normally with wrist turns, except your hands will just be different. Then with your left hand, pinch the F prime, and then once again the pinch move, and then push the U prime like that. And then you're gonna move your pointer finger from there, just anywhere you want, maybe at the back can work, or preferably at the back, which is something that you can use for the F. And then R2, move your finger over here, push, and then for the last move you can either push or use your thumb for the last move. So here's what it looks like fast, without lockups. This is what it looks like fast without lockups. Okay, this is what it looks like fast without lockups. There we go. That's it for today's video. Make sure to subscribe, like, stop making my cubes disappear, and see you in the next time. Bye-bye.